If you've watched my channel, you know that I love the flea market, and deals like these are what keep me going. I got each of these guitars for $5. Now, $10 is worth it for just parts, but I don't really like to break them up. I like to get them playing again. So I got a Harmony, and I got a no-name Strat that's really beat on, but it's fretless. Kind of weird. So let's take a look at them a little closer. I'll tell you my plans. And I also got this Kiss book from 1978 for another fin. So it was a good morning. Punk power. Okay. First up, let's look at this Harmony. It's a model H802, made in Taiwan. So I'm dating it to the late 70s or early 80s. If it were earlier, it would probably be made in Japan. These were typically sold in department stores and were aimed at like beginners. Looks almost complete with the exception of the missing bridge. I think I have something in the stash that might fit. The only flaw I'm seeing is this crack up here at the first tuner. And, that should be an easy fix. Over to the Crapocaster, like I said, it's fretless, but did it come that way? It's got more visible cracks than a nudist colony. It seems complete with the exception of one missing strap button. There are some odd things about it, though. The neck is a Squier, based on the sanded off decal. You can still see a little bit. Did Squier make a fretless, or is this a custom? Almost looks like there are actual frets in there, where they filed down. Also, this neck plate has an engraving of EB150R. And when I looked that up, it came back belonging to a completely different guitar. So I'll tell you about that in a bit. So what am I going to do with these two fine foreign instruments? Well, the Harmony goes for like 100 up to like 400 for a nice example. This one's probably a 3 on a scale of 1 to 10. But it's OG, and I want to keep that. So I'm only going to do like a wabi-sabi on this one. Get it playing, send it forth. Keep the patina, lose the grime. How's that sound? The Strat, mostly worthless as it sits. I'm going to try to customize it with some crap from my stash. What I'm going to do to it, I'm not sure yet. Maybe it'll come to me while I'm going through this Harmony. So let's put this one aside, plug in this little beast, and see what it does. Alright, let's put the Rage. It's like in and out. Yeah, so that's going to need some cleaning, going through. I think the best bet now is to tear it down into its individual parts and start cleaning up stuff, doing some chrome polish on the chrome pieces, see if I have a bridge that fits this, clean it up, go through the electronics. Yeah, let's do it. So these originally came with a curved bar bridge that rides on these posts here. I was hoping to use like a Les Paul style bridge, but the problem is it makes the string spacing too wide and the strings would be too close to the edge of the neck. So I ordered up a repro bridge. That puts me another $15 into this one, but that also means I don't have to modify it anyway, so I guess that's a good thing. While I'm waiting for that to come in, I'll tear it down the rest of the way, have a look at these electronics, see if I can get them working again, and give it a decent cleanup. Or 740511. Anybody know what that means? 740521. That's like a couple days before I was born. If that's what that means. What do you think? Electronics here, I think I'm just going to kind of squirt down with some deoxit to start with. Let that work in there for a while. Coming out kind of rusty actually. take a little bit of rolled up sandpaper and run it through the jack so that the jacket is being sure to being properly grounded there. Up there too where the tip touches. Sand your tip. Alright, they're still filthy as hell. I think I'm going to let this deoxit sit, work a little bit, and then clean it up, see if it works again. If it does work, I'll take everything off of this, get a nice cleanup on this pick guard, and some more cleanup on these parts too. So, see how that works. Well, I forgot to start my camera before I broke down that pick guard, but I can't confirm that this all works. This is the volume that was making all that scratching. Pretty quiet now, and they both function, and it's not even grounded. Pretty quiet. So the pick guard itself is absolutely disgusting. I'm going to take this up to the sink and give it a wash in some warm water. Nothing too hot, you don't want it to warp, but I want to get all that grossness off of there. So that's what I'm going to do now. Well, it's a couple days later. I've gone ahead and cleaned up the neck and the fretboard. Replaced a couple screws up here. Lubed up these tuners. Put them back in. Also fixed that split. Looks pretty good to me. The little caps that go on top, it was missing a few of those. I had a set in my stash. So also, the bridge came in. I wanted to show you how many bags they had this packaged in. They got the screws, the bridge and the saddle, and the tailpiece all in their own bags. Those three were packaged into this bag, which was packaged into this bag, which was packaged into this bag. These three are the same bags. So I looked it up. It cost me 12 bucks, and you know, there's $3 worth of bags here, so bonus. So I only really need the bridge off of this new set. Of course, I could replace them all, but I don't want to do that for a couple of reasons. Number one, while these are shiny and new, they're not really going to match the age and patina that I got going on with the rest of the guitar. Number two, these are ultra cheesy. Like, the stamping is fine. They're literally exact matches for the old pieces. Even the screw holes line up perfectly, but the plating leaves a lot to be desired. If I were missing all this, I'd be just fine putting on the new stuff, but it's not, so I won't. Even though this old stuff looks really rusty and dingy, I'm pretty confident that with some chrome polish, I can clean them up nicely. So let me polish some chrome. So that's like 2 minutes of polishing. That looks really good. Bring in the new one, you know. Even though they got the same shine, there's something about, you know, the little speckles you get, little rust speckles. I don't know. I think it needs to be on there. So we're going to keep that, put that one in the stash. Alright, on to the body. It is dirtier than John Valby on a Friday night, let me tell you. Looks like somebody put it next to a breakfast griddle for 30 years and then in a barn for 20. So when I clean an old guitar finish, I try to avoid chemicals, oils, and such. Old guitars don't have that shell that a modern guitar has, and it's often just a lacquer. The dirtiest guitar I ever cleaned was a CBS era Fender Strat, and I found that a slightly moist cloth and some elbow grease did just fine. So I don't want this rag saturated, and I don't want to spray the water directly on it either. Just a quick spritz on the cloth and that's fine. So I'll follow it up with some wax and then I can assemble it. Cracking on. I think the positive of all that grime was it kept it from fading. I was expecting it to see it a different color where the pickguard was, but it looks pretty good. Alright, put it together. Why do I always forget to put the little pointers on? Damn it. Well, I'll take this back off, but I did use the paint pen refurb on these screws here, and all the pickguard screws I'm going to go new because they were really rusty. It looked really bad, beyond paint pen refurbing. So. This thing feels awesome and plays great. The tone is thicker than a Wendy's Frosty, but this saddle sucks. The stampings on the string grooves were like all messed up. I think they were made with like a hammer and a chisel. I had to do some extensive needle filing just so it didn't sound like a sitar. That would be great if you were covering Tomorrow Never Knows, but I ain't a Beatle. Well, you get what you pay for, I guess. Also, there's no intonation, so it is what it is. If anyone knows of a saddle that makes this intonable, if that's a word, let me know. Anyway, with the new saddle and the strings and the price of the thing, it owes me 23 bucks. So let's check out this fretless Strat. Okay, Squier hasn't made a fretless Strat. A few fretless basses, but not Strats, according to my research, which was 2 minutes on Google. So this is definitely a custom. It's well done though, but it's too bad it's so cracked up. The neck plate reads EB150R, which comes from an 80s Madeira bass, and that was an economic line from Guild. That's the least odd thing about this guitar. My longtime viewers will be super excited to know that I won't have to level any frets. Bonus. So let's see if it produces sound, then strip it down and see if we can find any more clues to its origin. The body might not even be worth it if those splits are straight through. However, I have other options if it's not, but I guess how bad that split will determine what route I go. So let's do it. I think the last person that cleaned this used bacon grease. Alright, what's your prediction? What do you think this is going to sound like? Scratchy? Definitely some problems here. Like that volume should be devoluming it as if I have it turned all the way down. There's really no change in it. It's like a tone. conveniently, somebody already has the ground disconnected. So the neck has one nice sliver chipped off at the heel, and I'm confident I can fix that with some glue and clamps. A few wires disconnected on the electronics, easy fix. But this body is split nearly in two places. So I guess that's nearly split in three, right? Whatever. I'm going to use some glue and clamps to fix that too. It'll be pretty rough, but in the spirit of using what I have on hand, or not spending too much on any given project, it's the right thing to do. I've been waffling back and forth on my other options though. I'll show you what I have. While I won't use these, it's kind of a glimpse into my future projects. First up is this Mark guitar, and I'm no Mark unless it's wrestling. It's another yard sale guitar, and I've had plans to do something with this one, but other projects are in the way. The droopy headstock just doesn't do it for me, so I was going to do the right thing and swap it out for an equally stupid looking headstock, but you know, it could work for this fretless neck. However, while the scale is correct, the Mark is set up with a 22 fret neck and the fretless is a 21. It's possible I need to set the neck in farther back in the pocket, and I'd also need to cut a new pick guard to cover over the gap. Now I plan on carving a new pick guard anyway, but I'd probably also have to do some routing for the pickup too. That's a lot of work, and I already have a neck picked out for the Mark. Plus the gap would bug me, it just being there. Also, I like to have a bolt-on neck touch on three sides, so I don't want to lose any sustain. So, next option. I have this body from the Crapocaster build. I carved my own one for that. This would take some re-engineering to make it work. I'd need to set the neck, route for pickups, install the set-top bridge. Now, I have all that in the stash. I have a tele electronics plate. I'd have to carve a pick guard to fit. It's all pretty easy. Then sanding and finishing. And, I don't want to go that deep on a $5 flea market find, so option number 3. I have that J. Tercer guitar, the purple one. It's another yard sale find. I went through that one on another video, and it hasn't found a home. It lives in the jam room, sitting lonely and ignored, like me. It may be due to the droopy Mark-looking headstock, I don't know, but this would be a direct swap. This does go against my mission of putting them back together and not just tearing them down. The cons are, I'm breaking up a perfectly good guitar. The pros are, it will probably never be used as it sits, so making it a fretless makes it interesting, and it's already finished. So that's what I have, but taking all that into account, I think I'm just going to go right ahead and glue up that old body and see what we can do to customize it. Agreed? Cool. Alright, let's get to gluing and clamping. This little attachment that goes on to my chop saw, it's working pretty good for a spreader, so I can kind of get the glue to fall down and deep into the crack as I can. I think it's most important that up by the neck pocket is where it should be get the most glue. Also, I noticed here the body and the neck do match. They're both September of 98. Or one of them is September of 98. The other one does say 98. So, I'm pretty sure that they go together. So this neck and this body set up pretty good. They both feel pretty solid. It's a little bit rough right here, so I'm going to do a little bit of filling and sanding. But I'm also noticing that there's quite a few fret markers that are missing. So I'm going to take this opportunity to drill those out, mix up some glow-in-the-dark mica powder with some resin, fill those. I think that'll be a cool little touch. Then I can, kind of give it a light sanding and a quick clear coat, and that should be set. Also, I might put a decal on it, but I'm not sure yet. The body is pretty solid. You can still kind of see where the splits were, but that's okay. It gives a character. Looks like it was dropped down a flight of stairs or something, and all these scuffs on it. Let's see if we can buff all those out. I'm sure that'll clean up just fine. The pick guard is pretty broken in a couple spots, so I was thinking of just carving a new pick guard. Going through the material that I have here, I have a sheet of black. That always works, It'll look way cleaner. I have this tortoise shell that I have saved for another project. I'm going to be carving an old acoustic guitar into a light up sign for a camp cabin. That'll be neat. Last piece I have is this piece of blue, which hasn't found a home yet. It's been here in the shop for coming up on a year, so I think this would be a good place to use it, and I can get rid of it. Brightens it up a lot too. So we'll do a custom pick guard in that blue on there, and yeah, I think that'll make huge difference. So let's get to it. I don't know if that's whiteout or toothpaste or cake icing. Coming off with just a little bit of elbow grease though. Yeah, that doesn't look bad at all. I can work with that. So I'm going to cut this pick guard in 3 passes with 3 different bits. First one is a straight bit, and that'll carve out the neck pocket, the bridge pocket, the pickups, holes, etc. Second up will be a 90-degree bit, which will give a little bevel to where all my screw holes will be. Lastly will be a 30-degree bit that will carve out the outside, give me a nice bevel on it. So let's get to it. See, when I had the holes where they needed to be, I put in some screws to keep them from shifting. I could have also used tabs, which would incorporate tabs so it wouldn't shift on me and then I'd have to cut them out with a razor blade, but I like doing it this way. It gives you a nice clean edge. It doesn't look clean now, it's all scraps of plastic here, but that'll sand off just nice, and then this should have like 2 layers of protectant on it that you peel off, and it looks awesome. So I'll get these out of here, clean them up, and we can start putting this thing back together. So the weirdness continues on this guitar. The pick guard that came with it is not original. There's 2 sets of holes in the body. This one has 8 holes, and there's 11 holes drilled. So I went with a template I had for an 11 hole, but doesn't exactly fit. I'm going to have to make some Dremel mods to make it fit. Now, I've carved this one a few times for genuine Fenders, and they've always lined up perfectly. However, this one's too tight at the neck, the bridge, and the pickups. But it does line up dimensionally to a genuine Fender carved pickguard. So these electronics have got to be non-Fender. So some mods to make it fit, we should be good. Over to the neck. Now I've got it filled, sanded, and smoothed where the crack was. I've drilled out the fret markers. I'm not sure if I mentioned, but a few were missing. So I'm going to refill them with some glow-in-the-dark powder mixed with some resin. Should look cool. I might add a decal too, since I've got it apart. And I'm going to have to re-clear the whole thing anyway. So let me mix up some 2-part epoxy resin, and we'll fill these up. Can't get that opaque enough. Okay, that was kind of a fail. It works and it still grows strong. I could sand it, clear it, and send it, but you still need to see it in the daytime. I can't really get the resin opaque enough with the glow powder without adding white dye. If I add white dye, it lessens the glow effect, as I've found in the past. But I still want to see white markers in a lit room, so I've been thinking of other products I might have here. I was thinking of mixing the glow with either a spackle or a wood filler. And then I remembered I had this white milliput. It's a 2-part putty that dries hard like a muffler weld. And I use this for a fabulous binding repair on the no-name Tysco bass I refurbed. So I mixed up a small batch, split it into 3 parts, and added varying degrees of glow powder. My concern was that adding powder would make it not go off, but after 4 hours they've all dried solid. And it still retains its glow properties. So I'm going to drill out the fret markers again, and then mix this up, pack it in there. I can then sand it, decal, and clear it. So I've been working on fitting this pickguard off camera, and I'm moving right along here on the neck. That method using the milliput worked great. You can see them in the light and the dark. I'll show you that later. I still would like something with stronger glow properties, you know, and I'm wondering if they make like 16th inch glow in the dark acrylic rods. Just kind of chop off in there. I don't know. Anyway, before I clear the whole thing, I want to put a decal on there because blank headstocks give me anxiety. The right thing to do would be to relabel it a Squier, but boring. The wrong thing to do, of course, would be to put a Fender label on it, or my own product label. I didn't do this mod to the fretboard, so I don't want to take credit for it. So keeping that all in mind, I decided to call it the Fretless Crapocaster. What do you think? I'm not mincing words, I suppose. I printed these here on my home printer, clear coated them to seal them. I always make extra because I mess them up. I just need to cut them out, water slide one of them on there, let it cure. Then I can re-clear the whole thing. Sound good? Thought so. Proceeding the weedium. And then back to this. Alright, that came out pretty good. Just needs its tuners and string trees. I can connect it to the body. And I've got everything attached on the body, including the strap buttons. Also plan on stringing it up with these flat wound strings. Electronics are working great now. Had to reconnect the neck to the switch. That was all that was wrong with that. Added a longer ground. That was one piece. And also a new jack. Also used some chrome polish on all the chromey parts to great effect. So close to finishing up. So let's crank on. Alright, time to wrap this sucker up. I've already fitted the back plate, but I still need to pull the plastic off. Now I know it looks shockingly like blue and bright on camera, but it's not really as bright as it appears. it goes well together. It really doesn't clash in person. This is the first fretless guitar I've ever played. I might have possibly played a Steinberger at a guitar shop back in the 80s. But yeah, it just wasn't my thing. It takes some getting used to, but I really dig doing slides on it. Almost sounds like you got a phaser on or something. I also want to show you the glow effect on the fret markers here when I'm done with this. There's the hole. Here's the glow effect on the fret markers. I'd like to get something still brighter. A lot of the glow effect is being taken away by the opaqueness of the milliput. So, but it works. It doesn't last as long as I want it to. So, still on the lookout. If you know, anybody has any other ideas, put them down in the complaint section. I'm open to hearing them. So, yeah, that's what I did there. Well, the Harmony owes me about $25 with the bridge and the strings and the cost of it. This one owes me about $25 with the pick guard and the strings and the cost of it. So about $50 total. Not bad. I've already sold the Harmony for $60, so I'm up. Let's see how they sound. So there you go, 2 $5 flea market finds back in playing shape. I want to thank you for joining me. Give me a thumbs up for filming it for you, and we'll talk again soon.